Hey friends, welcome to Heartful Beings. Me, Janet Alexander, and Malena Rodriguez are here. And we're really excited because Malena and I did this experiment of not talking to each other from the last episode. Because what ends up happening is we see each other and we just offload and get excited and say, oh my God, guess what happened? And then you guys get like a summary of our
Totally.
discussion.
Totally. Like we just can't help ourselves to start talking. We're in the same room or phone or whatever. So we haven't spoken at all. This
No,
is
we
kind of
haven't.
fun.
And we've tried, like I've called, but the schedules haven't allowed us to. So it's been kind of awesome. So today we want to talk to you about a topic that's related to when are you honoring self versus when are you self-sabotaging?
hmm Yeah,
And it's such a fine line to walk. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor, girl.
go
But
for it.
basically, I have a mentor. You guys have heard about her many times. She's out of this world. Her name's Tammy Demirza, lying. She got married.
Mhm.
And we had this incredible discussion that changed my reality immediately. I started seeing shifts in the energy field and around me, and even in my books and in my classroom that was so wild that I was no longer the same. So since then, I've been eating like a ravenous human being. I've been sleeping and resting, and I've been really calm, which is really different. But it's been fun. And so what I recognized is there's been this theme for me, and Melena's in a similar theme of what do we want?
hmm
Sky is the limit. And I also felt, and I feel like we talked about this, don't commit to anything yet, guys, because the
Yeah.
universe in these months is going to show you your options and you're going to get more clarity on what you want. So
hmm
one of the things I've been happening for me is I've been wanting to get out of teaching or out of my tutoring classroom at times because I'm tired. I work late. I work nights. But really, it's not so much that I want to get out of it, I've noticed. It's that I think I want it to be better supported so that I have more life balance.
hmm
So there's moments where I'm in like, I need to get out of this. It's just time to go into the next phase. I'm here to be a speaker. I'm here to be a podcaster. I'm here to do all of these things. And yes, all of that is also true. But what I realized is sometimes we'll have a little bit of conflict or adversity or difficulty or discomfort come up with where we are. It can be where you are with your husband, with your children, with your wife, with your partners, with your job, with my company, with your closet. It can be with any area of your life. And you can want to leave it or close that door, or close that chapter, but you're literally closing a chapter and living in self rejection
hmm
as opposed to embracing the piece of where we are. So here's how I was self sabotaging. I was looking to where do I plant my seeds in other places to start growing in the direction that I know I want to grow? Because in my mind, those other directions create scale, feasibility, group dynamic, more limitlessness in terms of how many people I can impact. However, this past 2 weeks, I was highly compelled to read the Four Agreements. Have you read the Four Agreements, guys?
I have not still.
Malena, oh my God.
Yeah, it'll be next on my reading list.
Well, I've read it twice before, but I'm different
Yeah,
today.
each time you read it, do you always get something else out of it?
So in there, it's the first chapters are about having impeccable word as the first agreement and how your words are literally creating curses or blessings. And so what I realized is all of a sudden I kept having these psychologists telling me and teachers tell me that's not possible, that won't happen. Well, we're pulling this kid out of this program or that's not, it's not going to happen. We've already put years of help into this specific student that you're going to help. And then for some reason, after 5 or maybe even 3 visits, when they come here, the child is different.
hmm
So, what I realized is I've been trying to avoid and not do the pieces that I am.
hmm
This is just who I am. And I realized that our words, and listen to this, I have identified as someone having ADHD most of my life. I haven't been seeing it in the last 4 days
hmm
because I realized what I do for myself is this week is what I've been doing for my students. I see a need and I fulfill it.
hmm
I see an area that requires some growth or support and I become that for them, or I create that for them, but I wasn't doing that for me. I was just saying, look, this is the shit show that I'm accustomed to, but this is how I function, but this is who I am. Not really contemplating that I picked this as a life's curriculum to overcome. So all of these moments of avoidance and self-sabotage this week, just this week, have really become more moments and opportunities of self-nurturing, self-growth, self-honoring, and doing these facets or these pieces or showing up for myself or my business has been the most healing thing I could have ever done. But because I start to view things as problems, I mean, guys, I told you I viewed money as problem, right? I was carrying that into other areas of life. All right, there's my 2 cents.
Well, that was a lot. But it's really crazy how you touched on literally my experience all the way up until about an hour ago. So I just briefly texted Janet earlier. I was like, I'm in this place from trying to figure out what is self-sabotage and what is taking time for self and dealing with the needs. You mentioned ADD, girl. My ADD has been heightened the last 24 hours where I have been almost out of body watching myself start a task, start a task, start a task, start a task. Where yesterday I said, Malena, stop, go finish the 5 things you just did. And this is me as a stay-at-home mom with the kids running around and you got all the things you got to do. So there's an element to it where it's just, but it's something that I noticed flat out in my face because my well has been depleted. I haven't been taking care of self. And so as you were bringing up that ADD component, I see how that has been. I'm on the flip side um, of that. And then you also mentioned something about the peace that you've been in, because I've also simultaneously been feeling that in the knowing of like what I have been transitioning from late December into now, where there is this like underlying peace. But the ADD is now coming up to show me when my thoughts, which I'm going to show you all the card that I also just picked, which is interesting, where the thoughts start to take over and I'm realizing now they come from the not enoughness or I'm not doing enough. So I have to it's like that idea of, well, if I just keep performing, keep performing, keep performing, keep pushing, then it's going to happen. But because I now have experienced this peace in who I'm coming, it's like the two versions of myself are showing me this is so cool. Like the two versions of myself are showing me, you know what this feels like. You know when you're in alignment, you know when like things are just flowing and good. But then within the same hour, you can feel the ADDs coming in and then showing me where those thoughts have just taken over again and showing me not enough, keep pushing, got to do this, got to do this, got to this. And then this person comes back up. And I was like, wow, this is what I'm literally doing all day. So then I'm texting you and I'm like, well, what the hell is self-sabotage versus me taking time for myself? Because I got self-sabotage, taking time for myself. So, you know what I mean? And so it's this battle that, well, I'm perceiving it as a battle, but it's also our humanness, right? So I'm also stepping into this place of letting that person, the ADD version, the self-sabotage version, be seen because it's giving me the tools, it's giving me the experiences of where in my life, right, I am out of balance and where in my life I need to like do a little quick reset. And those are actually my cards this morning. It was literally a woman in a nest nesting. And because that's where I haven't been nourishing myself, right? So I'm grateful the ADD came out raging the last 24 hours because she was really showing me where in my life I've been out of balance. And now that I have these tools that I've developed over the years, I'm not beating myself up about it, but I'm just more in this inquiry of like, well, where is the balance today? Because that could be different tomorrow, right? And your balance, Janet, will look different than my balance. And you guys out there's balance looks different. So it's really this introspective version of myself. Because I also picked the Hermit card yesterday, which in tarot, that's like you got to go into your cave and do some introspection and try to figure out what it is that you want, going back to that question, and what it is that we're creating and how we're showing up. So it's fascinating that all of these pieces are coming into play, and your experience this week is my experience too. So I know you guys out there listening are also probably going through this rebalancing, this equilibrium, this we've been changing. I've been going doing the steps, doing all this work, but now I'm stepping into something new. What the hell does that look like? Right.
Oh my
That's my two
gosh.
cents on that. Cause I'm just
What the
putting
hell
in live
does
time right
yeah.
now. I'm putting in all these pieces of like grateful for all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And honey, like it's so sacred because like and please guys, this is my truth. I am not projecting this onto you or trying to tell you, take it, consider this. I'm telling you, my truth is I have such transformational results with the children that we work with here.
It's
Uh,
really phenomenal that I've seen you work with these kids. It's phenomenal.
yeah. And we're talking about a kid who might be 10 or 11 years old as a non-reader, and we take them to reading, right? And I'm realizing based off of a culmination of indicators and signs and arrows that that I've been looking at, that it's almost like I'm piggybacking off of my power of my belief that they can. Like I
Yes,
have a firm belief, and so does a lot of neuroscience, that the one thing that humans can do is they can grow. There's
100%.
neuroplasticity.
Yeah,
But I
especially in kids. It's
absolutely,
like really potent in kids.
yeah. But I have had psychologists reach out to me lately and say, "What did you do? We've never seen these kind of results before." I
Mm-hmm.
had the local Texas Education Agency reach out to me. By the way, we had these parents bring us these results that you've had with their kids, and it's even showing on their star. What are you doing? And so I've been asking questions real curiously lately. What
Mm-hmm.
am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. And so I watched this movie with Josh called Awakenings. Have you ever seen this, Malena?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's this story about this doctor who is dedicated to his patients who have like this after this post-disease symptom where their bodies freeze in a position and they have no function or control. So he thinks it's like a severe Parkinson's. Like what if it's twitches to absolute no control and it's just stiff and frozen? And he has some results with his patients and they are awakened. And they go from a paralyzed state to playing ball and cutting up and dancing and having fun, but little by little, the medicine stops working.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized this is actually something that I have seen with some of my students or with some of my coaching clients will have a certain level of results. And then they go back to their environment, or I don't see them for a long time, or they're not in the energy of
Mm-hmm.
a belief or borrowing a belief. And then they tank again.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I have friends that are Reiki practitioners that say the same thing. Hey, we can do this healing for this person. But then they're healed for a day or two, a month, and then it comes back.
It's like a plateau, right? It's like things plateau and then yeah, you go
Yeah,
off again.
they can go off. And so what I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting to realize is there is something to borrowing the will. And in this book, in this movie, excuse me, there's this scene where Robin Williams throws a ball, and these people who have been stable like this for 20 or 40 years suddenly have a reaction to the ball.
Now that you said Robin Williams, I think I remember what movie you're talking about. I'm gonna rewatch it though.
Oh,
Yeah,
rewatch it, guys.
yeah,
Please rewatch it. And he says, I feel like
yeah.
the patients are they're leaning on the belief. They're
Yes.
borrowing the will of the ball. But I don't think they were borrowing the will of the ball. I think they were borrowing the will of Robin Williams, who believed there was a place. But the mind comes back in because the mind is the only thing that is ever sick. This is in A Course in Miracles. And the
Mm-hmm.
mind is what brings us back to these states.
Yeah.
So what guys, I'm in the middle of, and I don't, it's like, I have identified as someone with ADHD most of my adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm realizing, oh my gosh, it's actually those symptoms. It's
Mm-hmm.
those tendencies, like what you were saying, Melina. It's what comes up
Yeah.
when something's out of alignment or
A hundred
something's not
percent.
working or you're in coping
Yeah.
or you're making something the problem or you haven't addressed something for yourself
Right.
or self-nourished.
It's another symptom of an underlying something wanting to come up, be seen, something wanting to be acknowledged, like this belief system of not enoughness, or if I could do this, if I do this, where my mind would go, giving me that ADD symptom, right? But really, when I go down to what all of the things I was trying to do, it really came down to that old hustler in me, the pusher, the want to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. But what you're even talking about, and this is what another one of my teachers has mentioned so much. It's like we all have our medicine we are here to give to the world. So you have these psychologists, Janet, you have these other people being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And yes, you have this infinite well of belief that kids can be helped, that kids can change, that anything that was considered deficient we can work on towards with this just the natural belief system. Sure, you have the curriculum, sure, you have the knowledge and the schooling, right? But you're bringing it all into your own unique medicine. And that
Yeah.
is where right now, more than ever on the planet, so many of us are being asked to look out of the box. And that is where great science comes from. That is where great theory comes from. That is where change comes from, is when we look at the problem, right? But really, we're just showing up as wholeheartedly what we're here to offer,
Yeah.
right? And then you had struggles. Some things work, some things didn't work,
Yeah.
so put away what didn't work and you do what did work. But what fundamentally I have seen with you is just the belief and the knowledge. Like, I know I can feel this kid. I know this kid. I know what this kid intuitively needs. You're not just going down a checklist, right?
No.
And
Yeah.
that is where a program I'm developing to help my clients is like, every single one of us has intuition. Every single one of us have other abilities. And right now, if we start developing that, it becomes another tool to bring out our medicine of like what we're here to
Yes.
offer to people in
Yeah.
every area of like society right now. I mean, it's crazy out there. It's wild every day. I'm a little shocked and triggered, but I have to step back and be like, well, what am I here to create? And I
Yes,
just
honey.
listened to Lee Harris the other day, or no, sorry, it wasn't Lee Harris, even though I love him. I was listening to Teal Swan, and she said, right now we can be the antidote. How can we be the antidote to all of the things that are upsetting us?
Well, I think that's just to your point. It's exactly what you said it. You've said it twice pretty profoundly. If those of you didn't notice that she was saying you can be the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the piece that I haven't been doing for me, and sometimes we do it for everyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is I haven't been being that same precision and intuition, and I haven't been
For
applying
self.
that same insight for me.
I
Yeah.
had the same thing, girl, this week. Same exact thing. It was another slap in the head. Like, I have these tools, I have these abilities, but I'm not going inward and taking a little bit of time. And sometimes it's only 5 minutes, guys. Sometimes it's even in the shower. Great time to just like, hold on, what do I need today? Let me feel into my body. Let me see what it's telling me. What do I need? And I'm using it for self, right? I'm using it for my kids, my husband, the client, whatever. And it's like, no, we got to keep coming it back home because our medicine is being formulated before our very eyes. And I think you beautifully said too, this first couple of months in the year of whatever it is that we want, we got to be patient and keep showing up for ourselves because it's being mixed. All the
Mhm.
ingredients are starting to come together and like things are blossoming, just not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even so, like, what I'm applying today was blossoming 20 years ago,
Yeah.
but I wasn't aware of how it would correlate and integrate with what I'm doing today.
Mm-hmm.
So today, I'm realizing something else. This is a whole other layer. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to
And with
clear
your
my throat.
voice. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you know what this is about? I'm
Mm-hmm.
writing a book. I got stuck at a chapter, and look, I'm having even trouble saying it out loud, but it is a new truth, so I'm gonna say it. I'm realizing in my truth, which is what I was saying, don't take mine on, consider it if you want. Anytime that we label a child with autism or with ADHD, or the moment we apply a label to it, we're going to go even deeper down that pathway,
100%.
as opposed to, all right,
Mm-hmm.
this is a need that the child has. Intuitively, while I'm working with the child, I say, how can I be of service?
Yeah.
And there have been an unbelievable amount of times that I can't deny that I really didn't have to do anything. They
Girl,
literally, yeah, they just
yeah.
vibe.
This came up for a client yesterday. That's coming up now. Harry Potter fans out there, I forget which movie it is, but it's the movie where Harry Potter has a vial of liquid luck and he's got a task to do. I forget what even the task is. And he takes the luck, right? And the very first thing is he wants to go outside to go visit Hagrid. And his friends are like, are you crazy? Like, that doesn't even get us close to what we're trying to do. And he's like, I don't know. I got to go. Right. And he goes and he goes and he goes. And sure enough, they get the task taken care of. it's exactly that. It's like we don't always, we think we might know something that we need to do, but are we going inward intuitively and being like, what gives me joy today? What gives me the passion today? What gives me the drive today? Doing that, even though it may feel so off the mark, right? Of what,
Yeah,
but it's exactly what needs to be done, right? It's exactly the thing that you're looking for. So, like, even with these kids, you're asking them intuitively, how can I be of service? Because the question, the answer that day may just be like, I just need to scribble on some paper and not have anyone breathing down my back just for, a moment. Because I felt that when I worked with kids in therapy, sometimes they need silence. And I would sit in complete silence with a kid. And I was just like, wow, that was powerful. I didn't have to do shit. And that kid felt lighter when he was leaving. So it's like you
yeah,
don't know. But if we're not asking intuitively and going inward and finding those answers, we miss a lot of information. And
absolutely.
I do that throughout my day. And so I'm still training myself to come back. Come on back, Malena. Come on back, because I was out there for a while.
Gosh. And isn't that so beautiful too, though, girl, what you did for those babies? Because, yeah, sometimes they just need to know that their feelings are okay.
Yeah, exactly where they're at.
Yep.
Exactly where
And
they're at.
someone can hold space to just be okay with their feelings.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. The card that I picked, I do want to share because it is a talking about endings yet beginnings. Um, and it ties into everything we're talking about because sometimes we feel like there is something we need to do, then we realize it's not what we need to do. So this constant rebalancing of finding our equilibrium is the 10 of swords. So she's looking towards the horizon because she's walking away from something, right? So every ending is a new beginning. So what is it that's ending? What is it that's starting? What is it that, and this could be, this card can also weigh heavily to a heavy disastrous ending, but it doesn't always have to for people. But what's coming in for you, because I can feel
Oh,
you.
can you feel I'm about to cry?
Uh-huh, uh-huh, I felt it.
It's related to this
Uh-huh.
throat thing. Um, so I wrote a book. It's called The Highly Valued Teacher. And in my book, it's mostly been about my journey of how I became a highly valued teacher, like stories of empowerment and self value, self worth, doing my work, being the researcher, the studier. But now I want to redo the whole thing because I have had such a huge internal. I think people refer to this as like an existential crisis. I'm going to call mine an existential upgrade.
Yeah, well, I was going to say you've changed so much in the
Yeah.
last month even.
Yeah. And it's so much more aligned and easy
Mm-hmm.
that I have to rewrite it. Look,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, you could just
Mm-hmm.
publish it as is. It's still a decent story. It's when the throat's been clogging up. But when I'm like, no, you have a new truth and you got stuck at chapter 8 because of it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? The second
Mm-hmm.
that came through, I'm realizing, no, I have to walk away from what was, even though I've been working at it for a long time.
That girl, that for me is so hard because, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys out there, when you put time and energy into something and you're finally making it to the finish line and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I've done that many times, but knowing when to walk away can be really empowering. And it's not that that time was wasted, because that's another thing society will tell us, right? That it was wasted. No, like that got you, that gets you to where you're going. That's just another chapter in our books, right? So sure that I'm sure you got so much out of the writing exercises, out of the um experience of writing your first book, essentially, right? The experiences you get out of all of that gets you to exactly where you're at, which is beautiful. So this 10 of swords card, where in our lives, this is for everyone listening, doesn't matter when you're listening, but if you're listening to this episode, where in your life have you maybe not been ready, but know that we need to walk away? You may want to walk away or change something, or as Janet was saying, let the upgrade happen. Because that's what's being asked of us right now as we're going into this new year, as we're going into crazy new year, how it's begun, with everything. Where in our lives do we need to reevaluate and like give into this idea that it may just be time to walk away and allow the upgrade to come through?
Hey guys, so we're doing this live. So I actually just had a client show up early, is what happened.
Oh,
But yes, how do we iterate an upgrade that is our new truth, right? You have
yeah.
to honor it. There's no way you can deny it going forward. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something that's been coming forward for me a lot more in the last few years is now I can't not do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
I can't
Exactly.
not honor who I am. So in this case, guys, sorry, this is real life. We don't edit it
Yeah,
apparently.
I know. It's okay. We're at the end, but it all ties in, right? It all ties in of what you started talking about. It started off really a beginning of the year when we got back to it of what it is that we want, and really going inwards. And then what is it that we've been creating that we're kind of like, I'm not quite sure. I need to reevaluate. All of that is okay. And then what symptoms in our lives are coming up, mentioning the ADD coming up for me personally of like another symptom of something, an old story, right? An old version of myself that I haven't let completely, I haven't actually completely surrendered to, right? To allow the upgrade to really come in, right? And so that's where we're at right now, I think energetically, Janet and I. So it's really fascinating to put all these pieces together. So if there's anything else you want to say.
I think that's a good place for us to wrap it up.
Yeah.
If there's just one question I'd like to leave you guys with is, you know, how are you showing up for you today? And is
Mm-hmm.
it in alignment with what you want for your life? Or is it in alignment with what someone told you should want for your life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And take it really deeply personal, like go inward because there's so many stories we carry. There's so many belief systems we carry that I've been learning even more so. That is the mom, is the dad, is the heritage, is the culture, it's the society. And I'm realizing that some of those things that I thought I wanted even a week ago wasn't really me in the soul of like my heart and for my own personal family. So that's been really interesting to break down what I inherited and what's really me. So this whole idea of what it is that we want has been carrying over for weeks and weeks and weeks because it really is a deeper question for us.
Gosh, it's such a theme for the whole year,
Yeah.
friends. So yeah, definitely get clear. What do you want? Does it resonate with you? Is it in alignment with you? Is this your passion, your
Mm-hmm.
your hobby? Is it what fulfills you? Because if it's not, you're gonna start to feel those discomforts.
Yep, they show up no matter what. They're obliged to.
They
They
really
are
are.
obliged to. So, got to sort through some symptoms in my life for the rest of the week.
Same here, honey. It's just like clearing house is all like you clear your closet.
Yes, 100%. So thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to like us on our Facebook groups and Instagram groups and keep following us. Our next Heartful Hour. It's always the second Saturday of the month. Love to see you guys there and you can actually ask questions and interact with us. So bye, everybody.
Bye.